right, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream, where we bring you stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. And we are back with CXAI. CXAI is the symbol of NASDAQ. Khurram Sheikh, the CEO. Khurram, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Jack. Great to see you again.
Khurram, so amazing news today, which I think is extremely important for investors to understand the significance of this. The news is essentially, and we're going to dive into it. I'm going to let you give us the full color, but I just want to start off with that. Look, the news flow is this. And one of the things we always say, the most important thing you should be looking at with any of these stocks is the news flow, the pace, the cadence, because that's the pulse of the business. And the news today is essentially you have 5 major contract renewals with global companies. These are global, some of them are Fortune 500 companies. These are all multi-billion-dollar companies. So they're renewing with you. And I think what the significance of this, and I know you're going to answer this, but from an investor's perspective, what I'm seeing here is there's three kind of takeaways. One is this really validates the whole thesis that you have this AI SaaS product that these companies are finding this to increase their productivity, it cuts costs. Otherwise, why would they be paying you money? I mean, they're not going to renew unless they're getting benefit. These are very, very shrewd operators. These are very, very sophisticated companies. They're not going to renew unless they're getting major benefits, right? And that in turn validates this, the valuation thesis, which is this: this stock should be trading at least 10x forward revenues, because you're an AI SaaS company, and this renewal demonstrates the stickiness, and stickiness. That's the whole reason why these companies are valued at 10 times revenues. And then you have the whole flywheel happening. So the stock should be trading at 50 million valuation. Today, the stock is at 12 million valuation. So you have what I call a built-in profit of essentially 4x. I mean, just based on that valuation gap closing. And of course, we're going to talk about the upside of how you're going to grow the revenues. But all right, enough with my analysis. let me, Khurram, I want to ask you a question. Give us kind of from your perspective, a snapshot of the news and what the significance is as far as you're concerned. What from a business standpoint?
Yep. Great, Jack. No, I appreciate it. Look, this time of the year is always a busy time for us, because this is a time where, a lot of the renewals are happening, because most of our clients, as you know, are Fortune 500. They're not only renewing for now, but they're renewing for the future, meaning they're looking at our roadmap, they're looking at our capability, and they're looking at the value of this, right? So I'm super excited that we announced today that we've got 5 major enterprise renewals, which is amazing for us. And then 3 of them are Fortune 500 clients, right? So in order to put the context of what these people are doing with us, right? Because these are, people that have been using our product for more than a year. Some have actually been for a couple of years. And this is not just now an experiment. This is part of their core foundational operation model, right? And the reason why they're deploying and renewing us, because we solve a core operational problem, which is orchestrating people, space, and services across large distributed environments in real time, And what does that mean, right? So it means coordinating the daily workplace operation across offices, campuses, and regions, enabling hybrid work at scale. As you remember, with the pandemic, hybrid work became the norm. Now there's all these pushes for return to office, but you need flexible attendance, You need to provide flexibility to the end users. At the same time, you need to utilize the space they have. So this becomes one of the core tools they use for that. And then for the employees, it's a single intuitive interface for either navigating an office, ordering food, accessing services, planning their workday. It becomes the life in the day of an employee at these companies. And then with SkyView, we're offering this real-time visibility into how things are being utilized, how employees are engaging in the workplace, and it overall, across the enterprise, is reducing operational friction. Be it facilities, IT, workplace, real estate, all these guys are using the app. So I think this is the validation of our technology platform, but also more importantly, the daily employee workflows and operational decision-making that happens, right? So we're becoming part of their fabric, which I think is great, because the renewal, it's followed, is because of multi-year production deployments, right? This is not just an experiment now. This is part of their fabric.
And I think this is the key thing. This is why this news release, I don't know if investors really fully understand the significance of it is this. It's the renewals. That's the whole basis for the valuation of the stock, for this thing being worth 10x plus, revenues. That's the whole point. We're seeing now, like I think the start of this flywheel where you have the renewals. You have obviously your pipeline, your sales pipeline. Sales pipeline is growing. I mean, there's more case studies. Then you have the renewals. Then you have other companies in that space that see that these guys are getting results. So it starts to really build. And really, you're at the very early stages. I mean, again, this is a very young company. And people have to realize how most of these major companies, like in Silicon Valley, where you are, it takes them a while to really scale up, to go from that zero to $1 billion plus. Last time you mentioned, you're on a path to get to 100 million plus in the next couple of years, 100 million plus revenues. And that type of number should be worth at least 10x multiples. It's $1 billion plus upside valuation potential, which means in theory the stock could be, where you're at 10 million, it's a potentially, let's call it 100x. If you get to $1 billion valuation, in other words, if you're doing 100 million, you value at 10x, it's $1 billion valuation. Yeah, you basically have 100x in the stock. I mean, and we've had that type of thing happen. And by the way, what's interesting, the stocks we've had that became 100 baggers or more, they were all the same at the beginning. Nobody believed it. Everybody was always doubtful. They were all doubters and haters, and that's what creates the opportunity. If everybody believed in the stock, it wouldn't be trading at 50 cents. It would already be $10 or something, and then there would be room for disappointment. We see that all the time. These stocks get crazy valuations. Disappointment comes in and they crash down. Anyway, Khurram, these clients, before we started the live stream, I asked you who are the clients. Like, one of the things is these are major companies. A lot of them, nobody likes to have their name used in a press release because it's a whole thing. They just don't like basically that. But you mentioned to me that they're in you could tell us the sectors, and if anybody goes to the website CXApp, they can see the logo. I mean, they'll see the logo. They'll see all the logos there. They'll see who's using the product. But which sector, like which verticals right now are you getting the most traction in, or who's finding kind of the most use, or where are you seeing the best use of this?
No, that's a great question. All of my customers are near and dear to me, but I will tell you, the entertainment sector is really taking off. And it's been in the news recently too. You've seen a bunch of announcements and stuff. M&A is going on. A lot of people are after the content, and the content folks really want to use this capability for a number of reasons. Number one, because of all this change management, M&A happening, this happening, that happening, they want to make sure they coordinate their campuses and employees. But the other part is content, right? I mean, they really believe in the content story. So besides the reservations and bookings and all the stuff that we talk about, they also want to manage the user experiences, the content around those campuses, right? And these companies are content creators, right? So they want the employees to also have that same experience and relationship. And when you go to these campuses, I've been to some of them, they're just amazing campuses, right? I mean, you go and they're in LA, they're in New York, they're in London, they're in all of these amazing cities, but they've created these amazing experiences. So for them, whatever they sell to the public, they want to also have the employees have those same experiences. So we're creating really amazing content for them on our app with our BTS and showing them like, oh, here's where you can order food, and you can show the food menu, but also you can order it, and then you can book an event or look at what's happening in them, things that are happening on site. And they like to add a lot of content and banners and information. So they look and feel. So I think I mentioned last call, like if you look at our apps, and I'm just going to show you a screenshot, you can see all the different apps that we have that our clients have, and these are all branded for them, right? They're branded to be their experience. They're very particular about the colors, the way that's projected, and all this stuff, right? And the content companies are even more. So the renewals that happen right now, most of them are in the entertainment sector. And I think that's a sector that's booming. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth and scale there because of the M&A and divestitures. Secondly, we had a renewal here in Silicon Valley. It's a technology company that just implemented RTO. And we were competing against the big boys. Like this is a company that's in the Valley. Naturally, they have access to other tools and other capabilities. They have the likes of Microsoft, products in there. They have the likes of Zoom products in there. But our product has actually won over in terms of the renewal for that, because they feel there's a real value for us differentiating compared to just the regular video conferencing or email systems. But beyond that, I'm going to show you the kiosk, which is another game-changing product that allows you to do just-in-time booking, right? And to be able to have that situational awareness, knowing what's happening. You go to an office, you say, hey, I'd like to book a room. Oh, it's going to take you to call an assistant and find out where it is. You're a sales guy visiting the campus. You need to get a client in a room right away, okay? We can do that today in 30 seconds, right? We can do those bookings.
Cool. One thing I mentioned, I think what's significant about the fact that you have some of your early client wins are in the entertainment sector. It's kind of like the beachhead,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I think the significance of that is that, these again, these are very demanding clients. They're very sophisticated needs, and if they all the trends, everything starts, in California, the entertainment, that everything starts there, right?
Yep.
So once it starts there, then it kind of spreads. So everybody else adapts it from there. But one thing I want to ask you, so in terms of, and again, the companies, anybody goes to your website, they could see you have, I don't know,
Yep.
I'm not going to, maybe you're not going to say the renewals, but anybody who goes to the website, they could see the logos. You have Fox, you have Warner Brothers, I think NBC is using it. So like pretty much everybody all the big names, Comcast, I think, is using. How do they use for somebody? Let's say like a Warner Bros. I'm not going to obviously client discretion, but do they use it like on their whole campus in terms of like the studio? Let's say, for example, because you may have a situation where if you're shooting something, everybody needs to know where everybody is, and the timing is very important because time is money. You can't have 100 people waiting around on a set waiting for one guy to show up, and that delays. That's like tens of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
How are they using this? Are they using it everywhere, or what's the application?
No, that's a great question. So there's multiple use cases. The one use case is for the employees, right? So that's a global application that across all campuses, whether it's a campus in LA, campus in Singapore, campus in Bangalore, campus anywhere, right? And these folks have 50 plus campuses, right, or more, right? And so all those employees are now connected with one single app. It's naturally localized per campus, so you get the campus feed and you get the campus information and what's happening. But the most initial use case has been desk booking for space utilization, to say, okay, you can, because example, and I've been to some of their sites in Singapore, and you've got a high-rise tower where you've got 100 desks, and you've got 200 people. And they need to be managed accurately to make sure that whoever signs in does get a spot, and they check in, and then they don't not show up and somebody else loses it, right? So it becomes a very important factor for them. And they also want to see the analytics. What are people doing when they're there? So initially it's been that desk booking function and room booking and lockers and everything else on the campus, right? So they're going from one or two things on the campus to everything on the campus, right? Whether it's booking a desk, ordering food, booking a locker, getting a parking spot. Some places parking is very important, right? So we do all of that. But to your point, the next application, one of the clients that already started is at the studio itself, right? Studio operations. I've got a visitor, I've got a vendor who comes in. He's the audio guy, he's the makeup artist, whatever. They need to know what to do, where to do it, and how to do it. So there's also a separate app that they would sanction with us, leveraging the same core platform for a different use case, right? So we're doing that as well. And a lot of these places are huge places. I mean, they're not like a small lot. They're like acres of places, right?
No, navigation. I think in LA, it's like what is it? 100. It's a huge. It's basically half of LA.
It's a small city in itself, right?
It is literally. It's just literally a city. Yeah.
So then you need navigation, right? And wayfinding. So one of the use cases just is wayfinding. So somebody shows up there. Where do you got to go, and when do you have to deliver things or other things? So wayfinding navigation is happening. So I think there's a lot of use cases, but really we're building. I mean, to the cliche, we're just building mini cities here, right? And we're doing the full functionality of wayfinding, ordering, experience, what's happening, events going on. So they tell us we're the tip of the iceberg, right? Because we're starting here, and this has been working with their facilities people, their IT people. their communication marketing people, because like I said, the branding is important, right? So the comms people are involved in terms of disseminating the information. You'll see some of our, these clients are very creative. They've actually created Instagram feeds for our app, right? So if you go online on Instagram, you'll see Sky there too with some of these clients, because they're out there, like I said, they're content creators, right? They want the content out. So this is why they're very particular about what kind of content can come out, how it can come out. They manage it. So we're broadening the horizon of the stakeholders. And I think the next thing, obviously, is the employee experience from the HR side, right? So the HR is getting involved too now to say, okay, let's talk about all of these experiences together. So I think we're in a progression model, but I see those clients as being leading the industry, like you're saying, in terms of content. And I think that's super exciting for us because it gives the platform a bigger play.
And I think, again, before we started the live stream, we were talking about some of the other applications. We talked about healthcare use, because this is, again, one of the major applications for this. Again, you have a lot of different verticals, but one of the big ones we just happen to be talking about is in healthcare. Let's say hospitals, which also have a major need for this in terms of either from the kind of customer, the patient, somebody walks there. They got to know where something is or whatever. And also the actual employee is even more important for people to know where somebody is or all that, and where people are at any given time. These things are really extremely important. Do you have a demo? You have a demo you're going to show us? I think one of the challenges for the stock is, I think most retail investors, they don't quite understand exactly what is it that you do. They hear but they don't quite get it. So it's so
let me get, I've got a demo set up. We can show you the kiosk. Brendan on my team is going to set that up. But before he does that, I just want to, on that healthcare question, I'm going to give you some insight on that. So one of the renewals was a healthcare facilities provider. And part of the reason for them is it's, when these facilities, people show up and they need to know where to go and, when they have to go and what they have to do. And, you don't go there to the hospital every day, right? So when you go there, it's like a mystery, right? And we've heard people show up a day before their surgery to make sure they know where to go because they don't want to miss the time and others. So one of the applications for that is, you mentioned the employee to patient, right? And instead of an employee, it's a patient now going to the facility, knowing to know where do I have to go, what do I have to do, and having that, real-time, just-in-time information, right? So I think that's been utilized as well. And they're going to more and more as they put more sensors and more things in the environment and, notifications and stuff. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And it starts with the big hospitals, but also the medical offices, facilities where people go in. So I think that's another interesting area that we believe has a lot of growth potential. And so what we're going to show you now is the kiosk. This is one of the new products that got launched this year. And now we've got it deployed with one or two of our clients, and every single one of them wants it, right? And the idea, so I'm going to have Brendan kind of show you an example of that. We actually have the kiosk working here in our, and I'm going to turn the audio here so you can see. We've got it running here in our headquarters here, and Brendan's going to show you the value of that. Brendan?
Yeah, sure.
That's okay. I got it.
Okay,
Yeah, you can do that.
So good morning or good afternoon. This is our Sky Kiosk. This is our newest product offering that Karim just mentioned. As you can see here, we are in San Ramon. This is our Sky headquarters. It's a fairly large building, so navigating can be very confusing. But let's imagine that I'm an employee. I just come in the morning, pretty tired. I haven't booked a desk yet. I was out late. Boom, here's a kiosk. You can immediately find real-time availability of all of our desks. This is our main office here. I can go ahead and book a desk that I want for the day. So let's say I want to sit by the windows. I can just tap on N5 down here, and then I can book the desk directly from the kiosk. So this is integrated directly with our Sky app. So if I click book now, you see a QR code.
Can you tilt the camera? Yeah, there we go. If you can tilt the camera down so we can see. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so here you can see we have a QR code and instantly pop up over here. It integrates directly with our app. There's a number of reasons for this. One of them being that you have user entitlements. So only certain users can book certain desks in basically every office around the world. I can book this desk. So I just scan the QR code. It instantly links to our app, brings it up. and I can almost immediately book a desk directly from there, from my app. Okay, so now I have this desk booked. Now let's say, I need that coffee. It's still too early in the morning for me. Boom, I can just find right away from our map exactly any amenities on the map. I can search. Okay, here's some coffee right here. There's a nice little icon. I can tap it and see exactly how to navigate. Now this isn't very far, but let's say I want to go to get the nice coffee all the way up here, the cappuccino espresso machine.
Yeah. I think also I think it's important to mention, again, your clients, these are not small, like a small mom and pop business. Your clients usually have 10,000 employees. These are major companies. They have big campuses. So this is like, these are like, what's the typical, I don't know, typical office size? Is this like 100,000 square feet? Like, what are your
100,000 square foot to even 1,000,000 square feet, some of the places, right?
Okay. These are huge places. This is not like, because I think a lot, some people think, oh, I'm going to the office, which is like, 10 people. No, these are like basically large campuses. Almost
well,
like
what we're saying here is, Jack, this campus, although we're a small company, we got a small office, but we're part of the Bishop Ranch, which has got, hundreds of clients and huge campus across multiple buildings, right? So navigating here is like a maze, right? I mean, it's not that simple. So we actually, working with our partners here, we've kind of mapped the whole building and all the area around it, right? So it's kind of all the way up. So as Brendan is showing, you can find anything anywhere, and within a few seconds, you get it all on your mobile and you can navigate there.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. So again, this is synced up to the app. So I can actually take this on the go because, when I'm walking down a hall, everything looks the same, right? There's a bunch of desks. Okay. It's all walls. So I can just instantly navigate with my phone and then bring it up and can get turn-by-turn directions from there. So let's say I walk all the way down there. Sometimes this can take, 10 minutes, depending on where you are. Boom, I get my coffee. I come back to my desk, I sit down, start my day. Now let's say I want to talk to my boss's boss, right? I want to have a skip level. We have a universal search feature over here. So you can actually search for anything inside of the office, including people. So if you just tap on the universal search, we have a touchscreen keyboard right here. So I'll just search for Khurram. Boom, he appears here. I can see some information about him. Let's say, I'm visiting from a different office. I don't really know his email or anything. But in this case, I just want to know where he's sitting. So I tap on Khurram. Boom, I have his desk. He's, got a nice desk here, and I know exactly where to go. Now, obviously, this is about 10 feet, but imagine it's all the way across the campus or something like that. So I can immediately navigate to Khurram's desk, chat to him, right? I want a promotion, I want to raise, whatever it is. So it's a little private. We can book a room directly from the kiosk and actually start a meeting. So I'm going to go through the booking flow for a room. So here we can search for an organizer. I can make an organizer. Next, this allows you to actually be able to edit your meeting, modify it, from the phone, from your computer, wherever you are. So now I can put in Khurram's name. We can go next. I can add a title, a description, all the good stuff. Let's just do, something like
one-on-one, yeah.
One.
Which you have a lot of.
Which is a lot of, yeah, exactly. So boom, we can confirm that booking. It's going to instantly sync up to both of our calendars. It's already done, by the way. You can scan this QR code to navigate there, but it instantly pops up on both of your calendars. It's synced up to Outlook, Exchange, whatever you have. So it's already there. Now, Khurram can either accept or deny. It depends on, he's like, oh, not this guy again. But you can see now this room is already booked from 10:15 to 10:45. I can now book, for a later time or whatnot. Yeah, and so now I'm pretty nervous, right? I just put a one-on-one with my boss's boss. I'm gonna look for that promotion. I had that coffee earlier, got to go to the bathroom. You can just search it, restroom. Whoops, I typoed because that's how nervous I am. Restroom, boom. We have all our restrooms. It's a greedy search, so it's super nice and super convenient. I don't actually have to type out restroom, the whole thing. All right, restroom men's, boom. I have my navigation and I can go off and do my duties.
And you can see it's on multiple levels, level 3 and level 1. So part of the bigger challenge is when you want to go from one floor to another, the world changes dramatically, right? So you got to figure out that. So this does search and navigation and connections all across the building, anywhere.
Yeah, precisely. So this can do multi-floor navigation. You know, some clients will have 10 floors more. You can actually search by going downstairs if you want that exercise, or elevators, or what have you. And that you can immediately see your floors indicated here. We only have 2 floors at the moment. Well, really, we only have 1 floor office. So sometimes it's level 1. But I can see here, okay, walk down. Here's our little cafeteria area. Here's the parking. I leave, it's dark out usually when I leave. I can immediately find my parking. We have some bikes here that you can book and ride home. So it's very integrated, intuitive kiosk system, just in time.
Yep. That's great, Brandon.
So what are the, what's for somebody who's running this, right? There's got to be a lot more to it than just this, right? Because I mean, these guys are paying big money for these annual contracts.
No, this is a separate product. So Jack, this is new revenue. This is not in this is the first client that got this right now, right? So in our revenue, this is not there. This is going to be the upside, okay? Because what they have is they have the app, the mobile app today with all the Active Directory and Sync and all the mobile booking. This is a new product suite that's going to be on top of the renewals, right? This is going to be new revenue. And and what is the other part of the innovation here is what you just saw with Brendan showed is a software application. It runs on any device. It doesn't have to run on iOS or Android. It's a web app, right? It runs on any touchscreen. And so our clients are looking to put these, they already have touchscreens in their offices, right? They just load this software on top of that, or they're going to buy new kiosks because, prices of kiosks have gone down dramatically. But we're offering this as a software solution that's an upsell to our existing app, and they're going to put in their office lobby. They're going to put on every floor. So think about it. You got 100 floors or 50 floors. You're going to put on every floor. Not 1, maybe 2 if they're longer floor areas. This is a big scale-up opportunity for us, this product. And this came about from solving a problem for our customer came to us and said, hey, there are a bunch of kiosk vendors out there. They don't do anything besides just display, right? They show you ads, they show you this. Why don't we make an intelligent kiosk that can get stuff done? And we call it just in time, right? That you saw that the reservations that Brendan was showing, they're happening in less than 60 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, right? So think about the sales guy who just walked in the door with a new client. He's at his headquarters. He needs to find an office. He's going to look for the admin. He's going to look for somebody else. Can you help me? Can you get me in? Boom, he goes to the kiosk. He can just book it himself and get access within a few minutes and be there, right? So that is the huge advantage of this. Now, our customers are starting with, you mentioned the content clients, right? They haven't deployed it yet, but their view is beyond this, right? They're looking at it from not just the reservation booking thing, from the content, right? I can give you alerts. I can see what's going on. Events are happening, right? So if you go to any office lobby right now, you're going to see a bunch of play cards there, a bunch of, just old school printed stuff. And, we will all have it digitized. What about the Uber time? What time is Uber able to come? Where is the transit coming in and out? You're leaving the office. You want to get home. What's the real time situation? Or when you're not in California, we've had a bunch of earthquakes here recently. And so just knowing what's happening around you, getting emergency notification alerts, that's all going to be there. So I think this becomes more the integrated experience, similar to our mobile app. This becomes the integrated entrance into the building as well as across the floors. And we're getting a lot of interest in this product. And I think, like I said, we want to do the first deployment. We've been successful at it. And now we're going to scale up with more.
Okay. And so, but for the client that's getting, they're also getting a lot of valuable data, right? Which I think is a big part of this, because they want to know, okay, how is their space being utilized, right? Like which places are being utilized, and also who's doing what, pretty much, right? I mean, they get a sense of that, and what kind of collaboration could be going on, because especially, for example, I'm thinking you have a lot of these your entertainment clients. I think for them, a big part of this is, they like to create more kind of, I guess, it's a much more collaborative type of thing than, I guess, maybe other industries, for example, right? So they're give us an idea of
so that's a great segue into SkyView, and I have here one of our AI lead engineers, Manish, who's going to show you a demo of SkyView. Hopefully you guys can see it. And basically, you had hit it right on the spot that besides the experiences, they want to get the data and the insights and what's happening and what's going on. So Manish, take it away.
Yes. So we are Sky, the app, the ecosystem. So we call our analytics platform Sky View, which takes a global approach. But it's your data, right? We deal with large enterprise clients. So security is not our second thought or third, but the first one, even before. So it's integrated into client's SSO. Client gets to decide who gets access to what, and they can go slice and dice their data any way they want, role-based access control, and all the other good stuff. So what's we are showing here, right? The landing page. You have this never-ending list of filters and list of campuses, right? But we deal with large enterprise clients who have campuses in 50 countries across 5 different time zones. So we intuitively show them their campuses, and they can go and pick into that and zoom into that rather than looking at a static list, right? They could call their campus as a Diablo Den or whatever they could, but they intuitively know where the particular campus is. And here's some quick handful of metrics we showcase, but everything is configurable to the end user. A quick snapshot, X amount of active users, reservation cancellation rate, but also on the real estate side of things, not just showing you had 10,000 bookings, but those are all towards 10 desks because they have the new Apple TV or the new monitor. The rest 90 desks or whatever are not getting utilized. So it's not just a magnitude of bookings, we show the utilization of the real estate and the amenity impact. So it's like, yeah, you had 1,600 bookings, but it's only 50% desk utilization. The rest 50% are not getting utilized. Or same thing for the rooms, right? You want to know how well your campus is getting utilized. Do users want 20 people capacity conference rooms, or they want quick huddles? Mostly how we operate here, one-on-ones, a quick 2 to 5 people, like tiger meetings or rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And you can zoom into one particular campus, as I was saying, right? Again, same metrics, you have the data sets, it loads, you can quickly change to any other campus.
So what Manish is showing, Jack, is you can go from a global level all the way to local. You can go to every single desk, right? So think about an operation manager who knows exactly what's happening with their space, right? They can get a global view. They can send the CEO a report. Hey, by the way, here's the utilization factor for the campuses real time. And then he can go to the manager in San Jose and say, hey, in your office on this floor, this is what's going on. I see this, right? So we're giving full visibility, and all the data is their data, is protected, is secure. That's why they trust us with their data. It's anonymized, okay? So we don't kind of go track people, but we have insights onto what is actually going on the campus, right? And those actions are pretty telling. So Manish can show you not only the data, but they've shown the app usage, right?
Yep.
We can show you app usage, like what are they doing in those campuses, right? What feature did they go navigate all day long? Were they, ordering food, or how long did it take to do it? Or so it gives you a sense of actions, and then the performance of those actions, how well they were accomplished, right? And so we can show you a lot of data sets, all the different data sets that you can slice and dice and get answers to.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we go back to your traditional dashboards, right? Yep, we have the insights on the global homepage, but we also have never-ending list of dashboards and charts. So this is our app usage. On the top, we show you an executive summary. What's your device distribution like? How many active users have you got? How frequently are they coming back into the app? Are they spending in the app and whatnot? And it's really like all the magnitude, right? What days of the week are most popular for using the app? So
what cities? You can also compare your campuses. Oh, San Jose is doing this, New York is this, so you get a global understanding of, and by the way, this is all normalized to the time zones, right? So this is 9 a.m. in New York and suddenly 9 a.m. in Bangalore, or 9 a.m. anywhere. So you get a really clear view of what's happening in those environments. What are people coming in? What times they do? What actions they do? Everything is there.
Yeah.
So apparently, this is the data, all this stuff. It's again, I think one of the challenges in terms of with the stock is I think most investors, they can't relate to like the value of this for somebody for at the C level, somebody running one of these global enterprises, when they have thousands of employees that have these major campuses. They got to know what's how the space is being used. These things are actually this is again, there's major cost savings, right? This is like it also increases productivity. I mean, your product, right? Like, what's the? I think you have case studies, right? In other words, somebody's paying X amount of dollars for your product, right? And they're getting in return, X amount of cost savings or increase in productivity. Like, you have those. Can you give us some examples of those case studies? That way, I think investors can maybe better relate.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of them just from the space side. Yeah. Well, I think, look, from the space side, there are people, some of our clients have said, you guys have saved us tens to hundreds of millions of dollars in space savings because we were not going to, get a lease on a new building because we could optimize within the existing. As you know, space is very expensive, and we're deployed in the most expensive cities in the world: Singapore, New York, LA. It's super expensive. So for them, that's a big rationalization, right? Just the space saving. But the other part is employee productivity and
Carl, let me get you back on camera. Let me get you back in the
studio. Sure. I'm back here. I'm right here. Right here. So I was going to say that it's a combination of number of things, but I will tell you that for the employee productivity is a big deal, because think about it, employees want to not show up at the office and find out they don't have a desk, right? I mean, that's wasting their commute time and all this stuff. And secondly, if we don't have a system like ours, then guess what happens? Everybody's squatting at different places. Nobody knows where to go, what to do. It's a huge mess, right? So for them, having a system that allows you to not only book, but check in, reserve. I mean, if you remember the famous Seinfeld thing, it's not about just reservation. You got to hold the reservation, right? It's one thing to reserve. You got to hold it. We not only hold it, we keep it for you and we make it useful for you, right? Because every meeting starts late sometimes. Every meeting doesn't happen. We're going to check you in, make sure you are there. And when your meeting is nearly ending, we're going to get you the next meeting place. So you're not sitting there like, oh God, I got to leave here. We're going to automate that for you. So this system is started with the desk booking, started with those things, but it does everything in your life. Like in our campus here, we order food, okay? I don't have to go wait in line, 30 minutes at lunchtime. I just use the app. I know my food is coming at 12:25. I walk down at 12:23. I pick up my food, I'm done. I don't need to wait in line with the next 30 people, whatever. I'm more productive. So saving time, right? Even if that extra 15, 20 minutes, that's a big deal, right? So when you look at employee productivity, it's time management, it's getting stuff done faster. Sometimes people talk about getting rooms booked and others takes them 30 minutes or so, right? Here, it's all automated for you. It's done very simply. And then with the agentic AI, it's going to even be faster and better. So.
Yeah, and I think also it's important to realize, like, these are big companies. These are like highly paid employees, highly paid industries. So when you're talking about, 15 minutes here or there, at scale, you do that over, 10,000 employees, et cetera. You're able to save 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It adds up. It adds up to, like you said, like there's literally millions of dollars in cost savings. I mean, apparently that's why these companies are, signing up and then they're renewing again. There's no other reason. I mean, unless they were getting immediate value in today's market. I think that validates the whole thesis.
And then you were mentioning the analytics. So Manish showed you the Sky. He's got the kiosk analytics too and other things. But I think the analytics can be used by multiple stakeholders, right? It could be the real estate guy for space. It could be the IT guy for facilities. I mean, think about how many times when you look at those conference rooms and others, you got a lot of equipment there, right? If you're not using it, if people are not actually using the equipment, why do you have all this stuff in those rooms, right? So it shows you usage of that equipment, right? Whether it's a conference facility, whether it's sensors, whatever it is. So we can track all the data for an IT guy to say, okay, here's my usage model, right? And then the next is the HR person to say employee engagement collaboration. Are people actually going to meetings? Are they sitting together in rooms, or are they just on Zoom and Teams calls on their own little island? So then you can see what time they were spending there. So every person in the organization can get insights, right? And even we're getting people at the C levels and actually want their executive summary. And one of the great things that when we looked at all this stuff, there's a lot of BI tools out there, a lot of people slicing data. But what they want is not just the data, they want the insights. They want to know why it happened, right? Why was there a peak of bookings that day? Was it because the CEO showed up? Was it because the bunch of executives came in? Why did people show up that day? It's really interesting to know that, right? And so one of the other things that Manish, I don't know if you're going to show that now, is the is that, and one of the agentic AI stuff we're working on is the AI NLP to allow you to ask a question and get an insight. Instead of going through all these dashboards, I want to say, hey, tell me what happened with my RTO policy a month before, a month after, show me the data, right? You just ask a question and our SkyView will give you the analysis, the data, the insights, the recommendations even, right? I think that's going to be the more powerful impact because people want that insight. They just don't want to see just the data only. So Manish, maybe you can do a quick demo for the audience here.
Yep. So we have those charts, data sets, and never-ending things, right? Even when you look at chart to say, show me the bookings for the last year, it's just a bar graph or line graph. You really need to go inside and look at the story of the data. It's a troughs, it's an anomalies, it's increasing, not just an average line at a huge magnitude. So a quick example is what Kuram was saying, right? I'll just quickly show that. We implemented an RTO return to office policy in early March of this year. Can we look at a couple of months before and after to see if it had any impact at all? Done, not even a text, we just use a voice. So so what's happening here, right? My natural language question was turned into a data query perhaps, and then we also got an insights and LLM based summary, right? Yep, this is still better, but hey, that's not clear for me. I don't really like a line graph. I'm like, let's look at monthly and bar chart, please. Same data, same insights, but I don't need to interact with the chart to change a simple color or the chart type or the granularity. And again, it's done. So yes, we have an analytics tool, but it would have taken you 5 clicks or say a couple of minutes. By the time I'm done speaking about this, it's already done. We have the 2 charts and the summary, right? Quickly, I can see this 18,000 spike in the number of bookings and a 57% increase. So I don't need to calculate each and every week, or I don't need to do the calculation in my head, right? It's quickly just in the moment, the data, but also your insights. And to Kuram's point, we don't need to really ask it again. You have the other capabilities to add it to your dashboard, save it as, etc., etc. But
yeah, as you can see, this is a pretty amazing tool, and it's giving you insights on demand, right? Really, and you can see, it could show you what happened before and after. So our executives who are doing the renewals, and they want this roadmap. That's why one of the reasons they renewed is they want this capability. They want this as soon as possible. We're piloting it with a lot of these clients. They've got the SkyView tool. Now they're going to get the AI NLP. I think this will create the big value point. You question, right, why are they using this, right? They see this value, right? And the more usage happens, the better the data gets, the better the insights get here.
So kind of let's recap. So you have again, the big takeaway, you have renewals. You have major clients. These are like, again, how the CXAI, I forget, what's the history of the company? How long have you been selling this the product or
Look, the company, when the company went public through in 2.5 years ago, March 14, 2023, but the company was initially selling in the pandemic or pre-pandemic for the desk booking, right? So it's 5 or 6 years old in terms of the product line. But we have made a major transformation over the last 2 years where we moved from more a services model to a software subscription model. So now 95 to 96% of the revenue is subscription. The margin's 89%. So it's really a software subscription. And that's how these clients like to do. They like to do multi-year deals, 3-year contracts with the subscription-based model. And then we have these upsells of these new product modules, right? So they get the base platform, they get all this functionality, and that's the heavy lifting, right? Think about it. When you have to sync 50,000 employees, actually in one case, customer, we have 350,000 employees. Every single customer employee has to be synced first, right? So we're doing that first, the heavy lift, and then they start implementing campus by campus, right? So this is where the trickle effect happens, but upfront, we do a lot of work. And then once that work is established, the first year, it takes some time to get the whole system working. I mean, these are sophisticated companies. Security is a big issue, as you know, making sure all this stuff works in their environment. But once they launch it, then they want to launch it big, right? They're not going to do like, oh, I'm going to do for 20 employees. I want to do for the whole 50,000, right? And so that's the journey we're on with a lot of these clients. Some of them started with one campus, now they're up to 50. Some are just on the number 2 campus, right? So that's the, you mentioned the flywheel effect acceleration that'll happen is as a lot of these clients start, they're renewing, they've done the validation to say this product does work. This product actually solves a real problem. This problem is used by my employees. Let's go scale it up, right? And I think that's what we're hoping.
So I think that's the key thing, right? So this is basically the company's still kind of was in the early stages. Now now that you have kind of validation, you have again renewals, all that is happening now. So now you could really start to scale. And again, you have these major clients. Anybody who goes to the website, they could see the logos. They're all there. These are huge companies. How again to give people an idea of like again how big can you scale this? Like what's the market we talk about is you're focused on companies with 10,000 plus employees. How big is the total market that you're addressing? Like
look, the total market from analysts is saying it's 100 billion plus market, but I think that's underestimating honestly, because I don't think this is a problem just for Fortune 1000 companies. I think this is a problem for any company, right? Any enterprise, whether it's 10 employees, 50 employees, you want that coordination, you want that collaboration, and you want that productivity. So I think our view is as we look at the new product, the agentic AI product that's coming out, that's going to be much more easy to deploy and scalable. These ones have a little bit of customization. Actually, these big clients want to have things their way. But I do think that the flywheel effect happens when the agentic AI platform gets launched, because that way we can launch a small medium enterprise, the mid-market, right? Which I think is $1 trillion opportunity. That's the huge market opportunity where all those clients want to have something like this. So we're going to be looking at that in 2026 here as we move forward. We've got a good baseline. We've got a good set of customers that are renewing. They're happy. They want to get the other reason to renew is not just about the product as is today, it's the roadmap, right? They really believe in the roadmap, and they really believe that what we're building is what they need. So we're going to execute on the roadmap. We're going to deliver that. But then, like I said, we need to diversify into other markets. You mentioned the healthcare facilities. You mentioned other places where this can be utilized, because now we've proven the product works, right? We've proven the product works. We've proven that it has value to clients. Now it's about go to market and scale up. And with agentic, I think there's a massive scale up opportunity here.
So that's going to start happening over what, the next 3 to 6 months?
Yep.
The agentic. Okay.
Yep.
And because I think what the market is kind of looking for is, okay, when can the company go from 5 million to to get to a run rate of, let's say, 25 million or 100 million? Those are the numbers that are going to get the market excited, right? Like, how do we? So when can we? Is there what's the possibility of getting to, like, let's call it a $25 million run rate over the next 12 months to hit that 25 million annualized?
I think I'm optimistic that our clients are scaling up well. I think there are opportunities, both organic and inorganic, for growth here, right? Because it's a very fragmented market. And for us, it's really important that we keep the existing clients happy, because they're our best references. And so our go-to-market strategy has really been direct right now, directly with those clients. I think as we're getting these renewals and getting the comfort level that these clients like us, we're going to start working on partnerships. We announced the Google partnership on Google Marketplace. The agentic app will be designed to be put on the marketplace. I think that gives us much more opportunity to scale, because I'm not going to go hire 100 salespeople to go sell this stuff, right? I think that would be pretty expensive and time consuming. So to answer your question, if we want rapid growth and scale, right, it has to happen through partnerships. And this is what we're working on. But we need the agentic product, to be tested and validated. We're getting some good feedback from the initial testing, but it's going to be that inflection point for scale there. Right?
Okay, so that's going to be over the next 3 to 6 months. It's going to launch. It's going to be, and it's going to be sold via the Google Marketplace, basically.
That's one avenue. We also have looked at the AWS and Azure. We can definitely partner with them as well. But yeah, Google's our initial partner for that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then there's gonna be I guess some sort of marketing to drive them to to this.
Yep.
Okay, no, very interesting. Yeah, because I think that's gonna be I think what people want to see is like, okay, you have the business model dialed in, the product is dialed in, clients are happy, they're renewing, obviously, so it's working. Now, how do we scale to to 100 million? That's going to be that's the $100 million question here. Can CXAI scale to 100 million over the next couple of years, right? So because that's going to be the big thing. So okay, excellent. So we got one step at a time. We got progress. I mean, this is the journey of 1,000 miles always starts with with the first footsteps. Coral, what else? So we're almost at the end of the year here. What kind of news flow can we expect over the next couple of weeks in terms of any more client announcements? Like what can we look forward to over the next 3 weeks? Let's say into the new year.
Well, look, I was clear on the last live stream that we have a lot of good things coming our way, and I'm going to keep everybody posted as things progress. But we're going to be pretty much, it's an exciting time. Like I said, we've got customers visiting us, new customers coming to us. This is Sky Labs, by the way, where you're seeing this is our lab facility, and we all work together. But our customers love coming here because they love touching and feeling the technology and playing with it. So we've got a bunch of sandbox, we call them sandboxes out there with clients who are testing it. But I'm super optimistic that a lot of them are going to come on board. And then at the same time, I think there's a lot of growth opportunities, both inorganic and organic. So we're going to be communicating a lot more. Like we mentioned, I think we've been a little quiet because we're building the technology platform for us. That's the most important thing. The prototype is working well. The testing is going really well. Now we're doing human testing, user testing, and we're going to take it to the next level, right? So to me, you're going to see a lot more updates. I think I promised that, and you've probably seen the last couple of weeks we have done a lot more press releases and live streams. We're going to be on a lot of podcasts coming up. We've got a lot of interest from analysts and other people to come on because they all love this, this area, right? This is an amazing area for innovation, right? When you think about AI, and I know people talk about the AI bubble, and there's a lot of news out there. Well, that's more on the data center side, on the back end, but on the application side, I will tell you, this is the same thing that happened in the .com. If you remember the .com, we all talked about, well, it's going to be all these things. But in the end of the day, the .com led us to Uber, to Waze, to Netflix, to all these great companies, right? They're still there, right? There are some companies that didn't make it, okay? They're probably the ones that were building too much infrastructure. So the same thing is going to happen here. I see them. We're
still in the early stages. This is like I think we're like still in the very early stages. It's like if you had to compare to the .com era, we're like in year 96 or 97. There's a runway of at least like 2 years. There's a lot of money going. And again, you're really an application. It's actually a product people are using. It's not like a data. It's a real thing people are using today. So it's a huge thing. But I think the problem is in the last couple of weeks, the stock has been affected by being part of that whole AI. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? It's like you consider part of the whole AI thing. But now, look, I think the AI stocks are going to do really well in 26. This is like, I think going to be a very pivotal year. So that's going to obviously help also at the same time. But again, from the investor's perspective, I'm looking at this. It's like, the stock is trading at a 12 million valuation. There's like 10 million in cash. So it's like you're getting this thing for almost free. You have a business that's, again, 5 million revenues. There's validation. It's growing, which should be worth at least 10x. So this thing should be at least $50 million based on today's numbers. So you have this, again, it's at least a 4x upside just based on this valuation gap, plus the growth. Okay, Khurram, thank you for the update. Hopefully we'll catch up with you. I don't know if before the end of the year, but definitely in the first week of January, unless you have some news before the end of the year. But we look forward to hearing.
Thank you so much, Jack. I really enjoyed talking to you again, and I love to show my product, and I think we're going to show more product demos. We're going to show more things in the coming weeks, and it's an exciting time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Khurram. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see everybody on the next one.
Bye.
Thank you again.